What's going on, guys? So before we start this video, I want you to kind of figure out why we have a yellow Nissan Frontier towing a Flagstaff E-Pro with a mini excavator in today's video. This ought to be kind of interesting. Hopefully it works out the way we plan. If not, it could be an expensive day. Anyways, guys, hang tight. We'll be right back. Okay, so if you guessed that there is a mini excavator here because we just want to use it for something, you're probably about half right. But the reality is, today we are going to be swapping out the air conditioning system in my father's brand new, pre-owned Flagstaff E-Pro. So if you didn't see the video where we did a full tour of this and we showed you why he got this and paired it up to his Class B Sprinter Mercedes van, you probably want to go back and check that out. Well, I could just simply tell you, because this can convert into a king-size bed, which allows him to essentially pull a king-size suite behind his Class B, but you still maintain the Class B convenience of being able to get up, move to the back of the RV if you want to make a sandwich while you're at a rest stop or a gas station or something. So you get the convenience of both, plus he can leave this at the campground if he wants to take the van out and drive it around without having to worry about giving up his spot if he's boondocking or he's out at a national or state park and he wants to be able to essentially hold on to a spot. So this thing is super cool. He bought it pre-owned. It's weird because it literally was the exact model, the E15 TB that he was looking for, and it happened to come available as a pre-owned unit the day he was at the dealership looking for it, which is super crazy. The other cool thing is after we made that video, I don't know if he actually saw one of the cool comments that was left recently. This inspired so many people, well, not this and this, but this and his Class B inspired so many people that one of the viewers actually said we went out and got an E15 TB to do the exact same thing and have that flexibility of having something super small, super compact, but very well equipped. Because this thing is pretty much loaded up. You got your full sink, 3-burner cooktop, which is very unusual in a unit this small. And then they have their king-size bed back here now, complete with a wet bath and a small Dometic gas electric refrigerator. Very cool. Anyways, not the point of today's video. The point of today's video is, actually, it's kind of a weird video dealing with air conditioning. So his Class B, when we took it out on the last trip together, he noticed that it was smelling and making this kind of a electrical burning smell to it. So he got back after the trip and it didn't seem like there was anything majorly wrong with it, but he went ahead and ordered a new AC anyways. And you may think, well, if you're talking about a problem with the Class B, why are you showing us this travel trailer? And why is he getting a new AC put on the travel trailer? Well, the reason why is because the air conditioning unit up here, which is a Dometic unit, and it's a very low profile, I think they call it the Penguin 2 or something, but this Dometic unit is actually the same air conditioning system that's on his Class B Mercedes Sprinter. It's the same unit. So what he's going to do, since this one has no problems and it's loud, just like his other one, he's going to swap out this one and put it on his Class B and take the one off the Class B, and we may try to figure out what we're going to do with that. Meanwhile, this is going to get a new unit. So he ordered this unit off of a company called RecPro, and this is kind of their house brand unit, but this one right here is a super quiet air conditioning system that's becoming more and more popular, and we're going to put this unit on here. Now, there is a difference in terms of BTUs. The one that's going on here is at an 8 or 9. So this one is actually a 9,500 BTU unit. The one that's on there is a 13.5. So he's going down in size, but the one that's on here is honestly overkill, mainly because this isn't a ducted system. This is just a direct fire straight down at you system. And as you can tell, for that to occur here, you're basically going to be sleeping directly below the air conditioning unit. So this is going to work out just fine for at least what he's trying to use it for. So this is going to be interesting. We're going to remove that unit, and the reason why we have the mini excavator out here is because I store it like a couple hundred feet away, so it's just easy to get out here. And we can probably just put the old unit inside of the bucket and lower it down, so we're not trying to lash it to a ladder or lower it with ropes or anything like that. And hopefully it works out. You know, it may not. I may drop it. I may accidentally hit the thumb on it whenever I'm sneezing or something and crush the unit. Who really knows? It'll be interesting to find out. But we're going to put this one up there, and again, the mini excavator may actually help us do that. So, you know what, if you're going to use a mini excavator as a multi-purpose tool out on a piece of property, this is probably the ultimate way to do it, simply because it acts as a crane as well. Might as well work smarter, not harder, but we'll see how that plays out. Anyways, we're gonna get the new unit unboxed. We're gonna get the mounting brackets and everything for the existing unit undone from the interior of the RV, and we'll start loosening that one up and seeing what we have to do to get it removed from the rooftop. And by the way, it's been raining all day today too, so it's gonna be really interesting now that it's finally starting to dry up a little bit, how slick the roof is up there. But if you doubt the rain story, you can see the whole front cap is covered in water droplets. So let's get this thing up top unscrewed. And if you watched a video I did a while back on replacing an AC unit on the former chaparral that we had, it's not really that difficult, especially if it's a direct fire unit. If it is a ducted unit, yeah, there's some more things you have to do. If it runs off of a thermostat, yeah, there might be some wiring you need to do. But for this unit, because everything is controlled from the actual bracket from the inside and the controls hang right below the AC, we shouldn't have to do too much to get this thing swapped out. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so got to pull off these vent covers first, and usually it's pretty easy to do, but let's see how difficult we can make this. There we go. Yep, you need to clean your air filters in here. And then this will usually pull down just like that. Here, I'll move these out here if you want to hand me that one so you don't have to lay it on your sheets. We'll just, actually we'll just set these right here for now. Okay, you should have 4 screws in the corners. And once we get this top piece off right here, there's just going to be a wiring harness that we unclip. And you should have 4 screws to hold that. So we'll have these 4 screws. Once we take that off, you'll have these inner 4 screws, which essentially sandwich the unit to this inner mounting bracket. Okay, so we got the semi-trusty DeWalt power drill, Phillips head bit. And all we're doing right now is removing the inner panel of the control panel. Let me swap with you so I can hold on to that thing whenever it comes down. Okay, then it should pull down unless we have something else holding it in place. Oh, it's right here. There's some silicone sealant here on the edge. Do you want to cut that or just peel it off? Because it might pull down the trim with it. I don't know if they put it on the other side of it too, though. I'm imagining they did. There we go. Okay, so that's nice. So the knobs basically just go through that into the control unit, which is attached to the mounting bracket up here. So also 4 Phillips head. All right, so you probably have some more sealant up there holding it in place.
It's duct.
It's not duct, it's just where it dumps out. But oh, I see what's happening. Yeah, the little seal around it's holding it in place. There we go, and then you should have your harness up here, right here.
Well, actually, it's in here. This is the wire we want to use. So I'm going to take this off.
So there's a few little retaining nuts that kind of hold the controls in place to be able to remove that panel, and that's what he's removing now. I brought my trusty little DeWalt 20-volt fan out here. This thing makes life a lot easier. Not crazy powerful, but for a job like this, sure does help. There we go. These are splices. These are quick splices, yeah. You just pop these up like that and pull those off. There we go. We got one more right here. There you go. Alright, I should be able to remove the panel. The innovations in splicing technology are all pretty cool. Okay, so we have the interior panel of the existing unit replaced. This is not going to go back into this unit, so we'll have a new interior setup for controls and everything. And it might actually be a little easier to set up, but we'll see. Okay, so interior brackets off. This is the foam that's actually sandwiched between the ceiling and the roof structure. Doesn't look like it's actually holding the unit down, and typically you can press up here, yep, and you can move the whole unit now. So they may have some Dicor or some type of a sealant around the top edge, or it may just be kind of adhered to the big thick gasket that this is pulled up against. So once we get on top of the roof, we'll be able to see what it looks like. Okay, so we are completely detached from the roof. The next part of this is going to be to slide it over. I'm going to see where I can move the bucket so we can get it in there safely.
Well,
what do you think?
If you put the bucket over here, facing this way, I could probably pick this up and rotate it into the bucket.
Okay.
Because the only thing that's really interfering is that flange that comes down.
Okay.
And that can collapse up flat.
All right, yeah, let me see if I can move it over there. Just give me some hand signals.
Just be real careful, don't knock me off of here.
Try not to. Now the question I gotta ask is, do you think that that was more convenient or safer than just trying to lower it down on a ladder or a hoist?
Oh gosh, yes.
Okay, good. I know there's gonna be some folks that are like, well, just use a ladder because not everyone has a mini excavator, but if you got a mini excavator, why not use it for something like this? But yeah, there's folks who will just simply lash it with a rope and they'll kind of lower it gently down a ladder, which, you know, everything has its own risks, but we had this thing and it seemed like it helped. The thumb, in this particular instance, acted as a pro and a con. The con was it didn't give us as much clearance to lift the bucket up and be able to slip this on. The pro was the fact that we could curl the bucket up kind of right up to the front of the thumb, and it really mitigated the risk of the air conditioning unit sliding off. So, again, pros and cons. So, this, it actually looks to be about a little bit narrower. Has the fan on the top still. The specs are right here. How many amps does this thing pull? So minimum current amperage is 12.48 amps. And then compressor units 8.75. All right. So we're gonna get this thing unboxed, and it's made by a company called Hutton. Is that it? Is Hutton? Hutton?
Yep.
So Hutton. Anyways, we'll get this thing unboxed, load it up, and first of all, we gotta swap
Maybe
this one over.
this doesn't feel as heavy as that one. I wonder if we can just lift this whole thing out, sit on the ground, put this, take that off the bucket, put it in this box.
Yeah, but that one's a lot wider. So this is a lot narrower. This looks probably about a foot and a half. This one's pushing 2 feet easily. You can set it on the box, probably in some awkward angle, but it's certainly not gonna.
Well, we can take
not gonna fit
inner
exactly.
collar out of the box and just have an empty box to set it in.
That's true. Okay, so Dad's getting everything unboxed, unbagged from an interior perspective. All pretty self-explanatory. So one of the only caveats to this air conditioning unit is there are no manual controls on this cover. So it's just kind of a blank cover. Everything has to be done through this kind of wall-mounted wireless remote control. Very similar to if you buy like a mini split, where you're not gonna have any controls directly on it, most likely, and you're gonna have to control everything through a remote, which isn't really a bad thing. I mean, you know, a lot of RVs, their light switches, everything now is essentially battery powered, so you're not really even using anything wired in, and it kind of gives it more of a higher end feel too, because if you simply attach this to the wall or somewhere over there, you can make adjustments to it however you want. Now, does this unit have a heat pump on it?
No.
So it's not a heat pump unit, it's just an air conditioner, which is going to in turn also be a dehumidifier, because the process of air conditioning also dehumidifies. Yeah, got the hardware coming out right now. Something I just noticed is the significant length difference of the bolts. So that's going to be interesting to see, because the thickness up here is about 3 inches thick, and it's going to be about that much of the bolts. So I guess you just don't need as long a bolts, or the mounting flange that actually holds everything into place doesn't require it.
This unit is probably made to fit more different RVs.
That's true.
Bigger and ducted. It's all can be configured for ducting, I believe.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's probably why that's longer.
And as much knowledge as people think I have about RVs, my dad's been RVing for decades before probably before I was born. But yeah, he's definitely a veteran of RVing. Class A, Class C, Class B, Class B+, travel trailer. Any fifth wheels mixed in there? I don't think so.
No, I had a fifth wheel.
No fifth wheels, but I'll tell you, when I first got into RVing, we'd walk around RV dealership lots and he'd say, "That's what you need, son." And he'd point to the big fifth wheels. So that's what we ended up getting.
And he was right.
I guess he was right too. Okay.
That's a lot simpler than that old one.
So that must be, what is that, your thermostat maybe? Or I guess there's a button on there.
There's a display.
Oh, okay.
It shows the temperature.
Okay, so what we're realizing here is that the foam and how it expanded out is kind of creating a bit of a block for the inner cover to go on. So we're going to put the outside unit on first, but first we're going to trim the foam up just so it's not preventing the inner portion from going on. It's a lot easier to do it while the AC is not in place.
The wires come around this corner. Lots of wires come around that corner.
Okay, so the opening's been cleared away of foam, so whenever we get the top of the unit on, we'll be able to slide this panel right here, because this lip has to slide into this gap right here. So we're going to go and get the old unit off of the excavator bucket, put the new unit on, and get it raised up in place, and then clean off the top of all of this. So Dad's back on the RV. He's going to clean it up a little bit. And we have the new one loaded up. So whenever he's done cleaning it, I am going to take his visual commands of where this needs to be placed. This thing weighs probably, I'm going to guess probably about a little more than half the weight of the other one.
The new one I think weighs 86 pounds.
So about 86 versus a little over, probably around 100 pounds for the big Penguin we removed. So yeah, let's get this thing loaded up there. Lift it up more at an angle. Right there, now pull it your way. A little bit more, a little bit more. Right there. Now you should be able to drop it right on. Oh, you gotta pull it back your way a little bit. There you go, you're on.
Yep, I can get to the grout.
Okay, so because my dad shaved off the foam right here, this bracket now fits in here. Has these little metal plates that go like this, and then you put the bolts through, and that just acts as a reinforcement and corner bracing it, holding it in space. But looks like everything should line up, and then once you start getting the bolts in there, you have a little bit of time to maneuver it before you have to tighten everything down. But that's the next part. We're going to run the bolts in and get it secured to the roof. Okay, so we ran into possibly a project ending issue. And it was the fact that these bolts just would not go in. There wasn't enough length to them. So we actually ran to Lowe's to see if we could pick up some bolts that were about a ½ an inch to an inch longer. And these are M8 by 1.25 and then by like 120 millimeters. And we needed probably like 150 millimeter length. And they didn't have them. They had the same size as this, which we couldn't use. So we decided what we would do is we would trim off the little plastic, kind of like, I don't know what you'd call them, little brackets, crown, I guess, that you would put these over. And then we went and got some really thin washers, and to kind of compare, that's the washer that they included, and this one's about half the thickness. And we broke those off, and we were able to get one started. Once we got that one down, we did the same on this side, and it compressed the foam enough that we were able to start them. So after we put regular washers here, we were able to use the little corner brackets here, and then we backed out the washers, and we were able to go back to these little brackets. So it all seemed to work out. We're in good shape. It compressed pretty good. What do you think? We probably have about a ½ an inch of bite into the threads, I'd imagine. Maybe even a little more than that. So yeah, it ends up working out well, but it really needs to compress that foam and to get it started. And that's the problem. On the Dometic, you didn't have to worry about that because the bolts were just so long that they would be threaded even though there was 3 inches of them still sticking out. So Yeah, you got to get it really compressed. Use sealant up there. It recommended using 3M sealant. What was the type of sealant?
5200.
The 5200 sealant. So the bracket is now pretty much permanently attached to the roof. And my theory is they do that. So if you ever have to replace the AC unit, you pretty much have to use their AC unit unless you really want to rip off a bunch of adhesive and tear the plastic piece off. But everything's looking good. It looks like this collar is going to come down and attach to this. And then above here is the diffuser to actually push the air out this way, or the diverter to push the air out this way and then out the other way. And then we should just need to wire it up here, and then we'll be good to go. But yeah, we're pretty much complete with this project. Just need to do some wiring, get that mounted up, and then put the cover on, and hopefully it'll start up once we get power going to it. Okay, so we have it plugged in right there. Got the wires tucked up and away, nice and clean. We're going to try to snap this in place. My father pointed something out that the trim right here, which butted up right up against the other unit, may prevent us from actually clearing it, but it might work over it. We'll see.
I can't tell where it is.
Right there. Looks like it's going to be the same place as the other one. Oh, perfect.
The screw holes lining up so we can run the screws up.
The screw holes, I don't know. That's an interesting question. That'll work. Wow, it fit exactly within the profile of the one that was removed. Yeah, you're going to want to be real careful when you tighten it because you can see how the plastic's pulling up, so.
I'm going to back this off just a bit.
There we go. You know, honestly, that looks really nice. That's a pretty looking unit. Typically on ACs and RVs, they're that flat kind of textured look like this, but the shininess of this actually looks pretty nice.
Well, have you got something so I can plug in a 110 cord?
Yeah, so we're going to see if we can get this thing plugged in real quick and get it fired up. So this is only, what, you said 9,500 BTU? So we should be able to plug this into a 110 outlet. Yeah, there we go. Now the compressor's kicked on. It was on fan mode, not on cool. That's very quiet. That is very, very quiet. To be honest, let me see something real quick on the fan. So the fan speed is set on high. It is on, and it's blowing cold air now. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's probably as loud, maybe a little bit quieter than some of the Coleman quiet cool systems. So it is quieter, it absolutely is, and I really should use a dB meter to show this, but I'm not gonna say it's so much quieter. Now it is absolutely significantly quieter than like the unit that was removed and most standard air conditioning units that you're gonna see on your typical RV. You hear a lot of airflow, which is good. There's not much you can do about that. That's kind of a positive thing to let you know a lot of air is coming out. But yeah, the unit itself is quiet. It's just like I said, it's probably as quiet as some of the quiet cool systems you're seeing nowadays. Roughly 72 to 75 dB. So yeah, very, very cool. I'm not going to say this was a hard, project to do. I think for most people, probably the biggest challenge would be getting the unit, their old unit, off their RV and the new unit on the RV. Would you agree, Dad?
Yeah, probably. If you don't have a excavator,
yeah,
it's a job.
Yeah, you probably just need to lower it down a ladder. But we did it once on another RV, and at least I helped a buddy, and it wasn't that difficult. It was probably all of 10 minutes lowering it down. You just get a rope around it and essentially lower it down a ladder slowly. But you got to be real careful because it is kind of heavy, and once you get it to the bottom, you have to be able to kind of finagle it around. This just made things a little easier since we had a tool that was at our disposal. Anyways, very, very cool project. Certainly a project that requires, I would say, 2 people. I would never try to go after this alone because there's certain things that might need to take place up top and on the inside at the same time. And again, removing the old AC is probably going to be the biggest hurdle, that if you don't have a crane or something like that, it's probably going to require a couple people to do at least. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you enjoyed this video. This was just kind of a cool opportunity to show a product I've never shown on the channel before, and right now it's working pretty dang well. It's blowing really cold air out. And you can direct the fans pretty much straight down if you want to. That's really nice. So these are your return air. They have two little filters in here, similar to the filters you typically would see on an RV. And then you have your little registers right here on each side, and both of them are adjustable. And I could easily see how this would cool off the inside of this RV. But we're gonna be going on another trip real soon, so we'll be able to give you kind of a follow-up on the performance of this really interesting air conditioner from, how's it pronounced? Hutton. It's the Bel Air 2800. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we're gonna clean up our mess. Talk to you again very soon.